Hey y'all, welcome back. It is day 4, and so far so good. I'm still hanging on to my 30-day pottery challenge to myself. I'm gonna probably talk a little bit fast. I don't know because I am in a mad dash of trying to get this video, the voiceover done and the video uploaded to my channel before the Super Bowl starts. I'm just trying to hurry up, but I want to also stick with what I said I was going to do for 30 days every single day. So, as you can see, this is the video of me attempting to make an urn for the first time. And I will say, this whole process made me happy and frustrated me all at the same time. So, because there were a lot of things that I came up against that I just don't have issues with when I'm working with smaller pieces because, like, as I said, I typically do smaller things like cups and plates and like little luminaries and planters, stuff like that. I've never done a really big planter. So I will kind of bring some of those things up, but for the most part, uh, there'll be music again. And I'm sure you can see that this is a super long video. Um, I was trying to cut some things out, but I don't know. I guess I'm at a point to where even though I know that as a whole, people have very short attention spans, I still think it's kind of dope to show the whole entire process of making a piece. And yeah, the better you are, the faster you make stuff. But I'm not, an advanced potter by any means. So sometimes it's going to take me 40 minutes to make something, which actually it took longer than that because I cut quite a bit out of just like stuff that you guys didn't need to see. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to actually show all of that. And like for people who kind of think that it's a little bit easier than it looks, or, as easy as it looks sometimes, like you can see that, yeah, some of these pieces that people are making what looks like they made in 3 minutes, it took them probably 15 or 20. But anyway, because I'm going to start rambling, I can already tell. Um, I, for the first time, worked with 5 pounds. It was like, I used about 5 pounds of clay. And I say for the first time, but no, that's not true. I've made something one other time with 5 pounds of clay. And in this situation and in that situation, I feel like the same thing happened. I feel like I wasted so much clay. And that's one of the things I'm struggling with is feeling like I'm not getting the best use out of the amount of clay that I'm using. So that's kind of what frustrated me. And it's interesting though, because I used 5 pounds of clay because there's a YouTube channel that I watched and I don't remember his name. It was when I was researching like how to make urns or whatever. And this potter used, I think he was like, this is like 3 pounds or 3.5 pounds of clay. And he made a really nice urn. So for me, because I'm a beginner, I was like, well, I'll use 5 because I'm sure I can't get that height with 3.5 pounds of clay. So anyway, it turns out with 5, I still didn't get the height. So if you don't want to watch the whole 40 minutes, if you fast forward to the end of the video, you will see what I was able to do with the 5 pounds of clay. But it still ended up not being big enough. So it's probably big enough to be, I don't know, like for a pet or something. But it's definitely not the standard size of urn. And then also because it took me so long to make the base, I have to split this up in 2 parts. So this video is going to be the bottom, the main part of the urn, and then I'll show tomorrow the lids. So I did 3 different lid choices um, to see which one fits better and looks better. So yeah, I didn't want to have like a whole hour long video. So part two tomorrow will be the 3 lids that I tried to do. And then hopefully at some point this week, you'll get to see me trim and then, all of that, the rest of that process. But here I go. I'm getting ready to start rambling. But a couple of things that I did want to say is I did bring up the one thing where I feel like I didn't get the best use of the clay. And you'll see further along in the video because it took me probably 10 minutes, I think, just to center this doggone clay. It doesn't seem like it's as much as it is, but it took me like 10 minutes just to center the 5 pounds. But once I started pulling up, you'll see how it just felt like I kept getting the skirt and it was ripping away. It just was a whole frustrating process for me. Even though I was getting height, I felt like I was wasting so much clay. And I was curious well, I know that everybody learning goes through that and experiences stuff like that. But I'm just curious what some people do to really be able to get height with their clay, because even with me watching videos and practicing, it feels like like my body just only wants to go to a certain height, or my clay just wants to go to a certain height, and that's it. So that's the one thing. And then also, as I'm watching this while I'm editing, I was like, geez, Louise, I use a lot of water. So it made me think, because the clay that I use, which is it's called Amico number 38, so it's actually kind of like porcelain. And I know with porcelain, because I love working with porcelain, um, that you don't have to use a lot of water. I like to use porcelain because it doesn't have grog in it. It's a textural thing with me. Like, I can't stand the grit on my fingers of grog. So the clay that I use actually has a very, very minimal grog in it. I barely feel the grit. But anyway, um, where was I going with this? Oh, I noticed that I use so much water because I feel like my hands dry out super quick. So I don't know if anybody else experiences that, or like how do you get to the point where you're not always wetting the piece up? Because I do know that at some point you can actually make it kind of like waterlogged, and it does more damage than help the situation. But I feel like my hands get super dry, and then the piece ends up off centered. And I've tried slowing the wheel down, but that just doesn't. It just feels like I need water. Like I'm always my hands or fingers are getting dry really quick. So I'm curious if anybody else ever has that issue. Um, because like I look at some of these videos and I'm like, oh my gosh, they are such a neat, clean potter. And then but by the time I finish one of my pieces, like I have clay and mud covering my entire hands, and half the time up to my elbows. So that's one of the things that I noticed while I was doing this. And then also, even though I did use a couple ribs when I was shaping the urn, I'm just curious if anybody likes to just shape without using the assistance of ribs, because I find that I actually do. I prefer just trying to shape with just my hands and fingers alone. I don't really feel comfortable using the ribs, but I get how they can be helpful. So that was something else I was thinking about just while I was editing the video and just kind of watching what I was doing. But anyway, I can tell I'm about to start rambling again. And like I said, I really do want to get this uploaded before the Super Bowl, so I have no excuses for not posting today. And so I can kind of relax and enjoy the rest of my evening. But anyway, thank you guys for following me in my 30-day pottery challenge to myself. And also, if you are moved, it would be super awesome if you would just follow my channel and, see what I'm doing and the things that I'll be doing in the future. So I will see you guys again tomorrow.